Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be running you through how to start a recruitment agency, but not just a recruitment agency, how to actually start it part-time. There isn't much difference in it, but I'm going to run through exactly what you're going to need, the pros and cons of actually starting a recruitment agency, because there are some positives and negatives to it, as you can imagine, what you're going to need to buy or set up, the cost is relatively small, and also what you're expected to make in your first year. So I gave a rough estimate and I'll run you through that afterwards. And I'm going to run you through exactly how to set up. So by the end of this video, you should know what to get, how to start, and how to set up. So can it actually work is the first question. Can you run a full-time business part-time? So I actually started my agency, funny enough, part-time. And I didn't actually go into it until I was showing revenue because I didn't want to quit my job even though I was earning very good money as a recruiter. I didn't want to just jump into it and then suddenly it fall flat. So I took the risk averse way, and my wife wouldn't let me do it anyway. So sometimes the hardest part of starting a business is actually convincing your partner. So I would actually recommend it part time. And the reason is you can make mistakes and you've got that safety net. Okay, I can't work on a business for these 2 weeks, I can let it sit. Whereas if you're relying on it, you have to make it work. Sometimes that can spur you on and do really well. But on the same time, it's more risky, especially if you've got family or you've got people that depend on you to you have to look after. It allows you to take it slow, and you can still become financially free. I've turned my business into one of the highest performing businesses in its niche, and I started it part time. Yeah, and this isn't a video that I never brag or anything, and I don't even mention how much my company makes. But in terms of it being done, I've done it. I've done it through the pandemic, and I've done it through, you know, a semi-recession in that sense. So yeah, so we'll get onto the cons. The cons is obviously you won't make as much as starting a full-time business. So therefore you're losing revenue by not allocating your time. So if you could have made 200k or 100k, you might make 50, 60, 70, that kind of range. So you are taking that risk, but you're getting some benefit from it. It can also be very difficult. I always suggest you at the start of any business, you have to go hard. So if you struggle to gain traction, there's a chance that you might lose hope. I've started many businesses that I've given up on because I couldn't see it working. And this could be the case with recruitment. And recruitment isn't a game where anything happens overnight. Things do, but then you're stuck in, no placement for the next few weeks. So it is very daunting. It can be at the stage where you're thinking, oh, I haven't made any money. This isn't working. No one's replying to me. No one's picking up the phone. So it can be like, this isn't for me. That's a very dangerous position to be in. You've got two options when it happens. You either take a break or you go hard. You double down. That's the only thing you can actually do, yeah? Also, there are opportunities that come across. So, for example, I get an application and it's 3:30 p.m. You're at work if you're doing a part-time business or you're busy with something else. And if a CV comes in and they're a superstar candidate, I can place them. I'll ring them, have a chat with them, what they're looking for. I'll find them a position immediately because I know a company will be looking for them. You aren't able to do that, so you miss out on a lot of opportunities. So speed is key. There are ways around it. I'll touch on that shortly, but 9 times out of 10 you can lose out to the 24-hour recruiters. And when I say 24/7 recruiters, that's someone like me. I work weekends, and sometimes most of my work is actually done on the weekends, especially with candidates. Yeah, it is part-time. It is difficult to compete in some niches. For example, some niches, like for example the automotive sector, is very 9 to 5 based, and it is very cold call. So if they're not on the phone, they're not going to respond to your email. These aren't the type of people that are going to be looking at responding to emails. Talk, pick up the phone. Those niches won't be suitable for a part-time one. So it's more the sort of white collar, I would say, rather than the blue collar sectors. And the other thing that a lot of people come to me and said, my employer might find out. And I actually worked as a recruiter and I set up a recruitment agency. So you can imagine the conflict of interest. Probably I would not have got sacked, but there could have been a chance where I could have not necessarily, there would have been a conflict of interest and there would have been a bit of a problem and it would have been quite difficult. So you've got a few options. I mean, I'm not a legal, I'm not a qualified lawyer. I'm not going to give you legal advice. But if you're registered in a company, you could do it in your spouse's name. and later on switch the business or get on the board after that. So talk to a lawyer if you're looking at registering a business and your employer finding out. And another thing is, it's not so prevalent now, but a lot of recruiters use fake names. Um, so I've used a fake name in one agency before, and people still call. I've got two clients in that, and they still call me that name. They still call me Max, actually. And I remember I came clean to one of my really good employers, and he said to me, I knew that wasn't your name. Like, of course you're not called Max. So I was called Max Hunter. Anyway, that's a different story. So on the pro side, recruitment's changed a lot. Recruitment used to be about picking up the phone, talking to people. It still is in some certain sectors, but the software nowadays allows you to automate a lot. For example, I could schedule emails to go out every 5 minutes to clients and candidates. Yeah, I can automate the whole process, and I have to be there just to manage the process in a way and make sure I'm, finding a suitable candidate for the position. It isn't so much about I've got to be glued to my phone 24 hours and going to meet people face to face. I can't remember the last time, maybe 2 years ago, I've met a client, maybe two and a half. It was pre-COVID, so it's all done on the phone. Yeah, and the revenue can actually be more than 50%. There's a weird thing that when I went full time, I didn't really see an increase in revenue. I don't know if that's because I was cramming everything in and I was working really efficiently because time wasn't with me, but I didn't see a massive jump in the first few months. And that could just down to be, the market position or the output I was doing. But you might actually, you might actually make 70%. So you might even make a very efficient, if you work out how much you earn per hour, let's say, you might actually earn, £50 an hour for your business. Whereas if you go full time, you might earn 75. So it's not a major difference. So people can actually keep this as a very small business off of that. And it also allows you to start slowly. So when you're not relying on the business and you're not taking a salary or you're not taking a dividend out of the business, you can let the capital grow in the business. That's what I done. I built up a safety net, and I said, look, I can pay my salary for 2 years. I'm going to go full time. That's what I done, and that's probably smart advice, I would say. And it allows you to test the waters. If you commit full time, you might not like recruitment. I've spoke to many people that recruitment hasn't worked for them. They didn't want it to work. It didn't work out. Many of you know that I had a failed business in recruitment. Not everything's going to be a success. I picked the wrong niche, and that was one thing that I made the mistake on. And I think another pro to mention is time is of the essence, and there's not a lot of jobs. Excuse me. There's not a lot of jobs if you're a single parent, you've got a full-time job, and you're running another business. There isn't much you can actually do. Recruitment is actually very. Some of the best recruiters I know that run their agencies are single mums. Yeah, and it is a business where you can actually, make a placement. You can get more than your month's salary easily, even after tax. And it's more tax efficient to earn through a company rather than working for someone else. And you can do it in the comfort of your own home. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, kids are asleep. Make some phone calls, send some emails. It's done. And with starting it part time, you can take the risk. You can start slowly. You can test the waters. It can be low risk, and you can wait for it to take off. It might take you 6 months before you make your first placement. It might take you 2 weeks. Who knows? 2 months. Yeah. And the other beauty of it is you can schedule client emails to go out when you're working. Pick them up when you're finished or on your lunch break. I used to go to my car and make phone calls with clients. I used to cold call in my car. Actually, I didn't rarely cold call, but I used to schedule the emails. And the best thing is, most candidates are working from home now. Yeah. So when you call them after 5, they're just logged off, finished their computer work or whatnot, and they're actually available for a call. If you can catch them when they had a bad day, they're more likely to talk to you as well. Candidates, LinkedIn was never around years ago as well. So that's something that people are always on. They get out notifications that you want to connect to them. So it works perfectly. So if you're doing your job and they're doing their job, clients are getting emails during the day. You respond to it in the evening. Set up a call for the next evening or lunchtime or whenever you're free. You might not even need to schedule a call. And you could end up actually having some very good conversations. I tell you why this is really important. Candidates more likely to pick up the phone afterwards if they really want to speak to you. Yeah, they're at work, they don't want to talk to you. What recruiters do, this is a weird thing actually, no one's ever thought about in the industry. A client or candidate will be working, but the recruiter works 9 to 5 as well, usually. This is why some recruiters stay late, because they get the best conversations out of candidates either in the morning or the evening. So what's probably best? A candidate wouldn't want to talk to you while they're working. In fact, they can't. How dare them talk to a recruiter? Their boss will go mad. But if they talk to you afterwards, other recruiters aren't around. So this is where you actually nail it. And I found the best conversations I ever had, or the best placements I ever made, was because I called the candidate on the weekend and I scheduled a call on the weekend. I say to them, look, I'm not like other recruiters. I work 24/7. And it can be a huge advantage, yeah? So what you need to buy and set up. So the website, this is going to be very blasé. I've made videos on this in the past. You only have to Google CADS money, what to buy, or how to set up a website or whatnot, yeah? There'll be information on there. Or scroll through my channel. I've made hundreds of these videos. So a website, this is a rough estimate. It's going to cost you anywhere between £50 and £100. If you want to go 600, 3,000, by all means, I would say keep it low. You can always do a version 2 of your website very easily once the money starts coming in. You're going to need a business email. So you're going to need the business email, obviously, to send. So it'll be your domain name. So if it's, bestrecruiter.com, it'll be your first name. So it'll be cads@bestrecruiter.com. So that's a business email. You're going to need that to send marketing emails out to clients or prospective clients, and also to candidates. You need that. You can't send it from a Gmail. It looks so unprofessional. It looks scammy. Email tools, I can recommend some if you want to get in touch with me. There's plenty out there. Just Google it. And you very well might just get away with doing it by scheduling the emails automatically. So you just copy and paste. Go on to my website, cada.ltd, which is the website here. There's a link in the description and the comment section. You can find the contract there. You can find everything you need, basically. How to actually set up the website. You're going to need email templates to send to clients. It's all on there. You're going to need a VoIP as well. You might not need it. So it's a voice over internet protocol. And that's used. You get a phone number with it. You probably pay £10-20 a month. And you can make calls from your mobile or your PC. I've always used it. You can use it in any country as well. You can call. My package that I have, I can call 150 countries unlimited every month. Yeah, and I've never had a problem with it. And you need an Indeed employer account. So this is going to be used. So we're keeping the costs low. We're going to keep posting about 10 free positions per active at one stage. So you can post 10 free jobs. And Indeed is the best job board. So you're going to get applications. You're going to get yourself out in the market. You're going to get your name seen as well, which is part of marketing your agency, which is very important early on. You're going to need a LinkedIn account. And I would say, when people get confused with what type of LinkedIn account I should make, you don't need the professional one at the moment. You can use X-Ray search. There's a link on the website to that as well. If you need that, just comment below. I'll give you the link. And LinkedIn, just make a profile, professional one. You're better off putting your own picture, not a fake picture. And if you don't want anyone finding out, just put a fake name on a stock image, I don't know, or your company logo. And obviously, just start to connect with candidates, which I'll touch on now. So what do you have to do to get there? What is the formula or basic timeline or KPIs to set yourself? Because it's all well and good saying, set up the website and off you go. You're going to be doing about half the output. You might match on some days, some weekends, yeah? So I would recommend 100 emails a day if you're starting an agency, minimum. But I'm going to recommend 50 a day. And that 50 could be 300 you've scheduled to go out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, etc. Yeah, you could schedule them all on a weekend. That's what I used to do. I used to stay up, Sunday night scheduling them in. And the templates for the emails are on my website again, so you can go through those. Now, the important thing is they have to be consistent. So if you're doing 50 here and then you take a break for 2 days, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd rather you do 20 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because the market is very dynamic and it's hard to explain, but it's always changing. And it is about timing. If you miss some days, you miss the opportunity to land that client for the next 6 months. So you have to be consistently sending out these cold emails, yeah? And you need to have a schedule. So you need to have a set hours. I would suggest a routine. When I didn't have a routine, it was very messy. Yeah. Some clients have a routine, so they check their emails at 2 p.m. They respond then. I've had client calls at midnight. I've had an email from a client and she sent me that, and I had a little laugh and I said, look, you're not the only one working now. And we actually had a call and I closed the deal. So it's very weird. You have to be, email is 24 hours, in my opinion. Most people in certain positions will check their emails out of hours. If you don't believe me, yeah, I've sent email campaigns on Saturday and they have an 80% open rate. People check their emails on Saturdays, believe me. Yeah. And with the phone call, so some clients might say to you, would you be free for a call? And candidates as well. I used to only, when I was doing it part time, only, and even now, I would only do scheduled emails. I mean, scheduled calls. So the calls would have to be booked in. Yeah, I can call you at 1 p.m. Or in fact, I can call you even after 5 or Saturday or Sunday. Yeah. Or early hours of the morning, etc. So just find it how it suits you. I don't know everyone's schedule, but that's how I done it, and it helped me manage the process because it's important. If you start receiving calls, you're doing something wrong, you're not managing the process, it's going to be hard to operate like that, especially if you're working or looking after children or something. Email focus will be for both candidates and clients. You're going to be scheduling them. I would say an email tool later on will probably be a godsend to you, and it probably will help a lot. The other important thing and what you have to do is find your niche. Yeah. So if you just go into YouTube and just type CADS Money niche, you find a lot of videos. I've made one quite recently about the best niches to pick. I should really make the best part-time niches one because I think that'll be slightly different as well. And another KPI is to connect with candidates, probably about 10 to 30 per day. You might even want to skip a few days as well because they're quite strict on that. Now, what you're doing is you're building up a candidate pool. So let's say you're just recruiting nurses. You want to connect. There's 60,000 plus nurses on LinkedIn, yeah, from what I see. And in the UK. So you want to connect with most of them that are active, yeah? Eventually build up. So when you do get a position on, you can go to that LinkedIn. You've got a small database already, rather than, oh, I need to connect with these people and you're restricted to 10 to 20. Yeah. So connect with them all over, build up your profile. If you want to go to the client side, feel free to. You can spend maybe 20% or 30% on client connections and outreach on LinkedIn. You'll be surprised. I've recommended tools in the past, but LinkedIn have obviously changed how they actually run their connections limit. So there is some element to that, yeah. And last but not least, the money aspect. So how much are we actually going to make from a part-time agency? I put some conservative figures down, and it doesn't sound fantastic, but bear in mind this is I don't want to call it, recruitment isn't really necessarily a side hustle, but you can actually make a substantial, you can make more than the average salary, I would say. I mean, what difference, well, a statistic is most people, and I think it's probably lower now, most people have £200 disposable income at the end of the month. Meaning, after all the bills are paid, they got £200. So you can double your disposable income with one placement every 3 months, potentially. And it doesn't have to be. So you're probably going to be charging a lower fee off of that. But first 3 months, you might make no placements, realistically. Yeah, but ideally I want you to be targeting 2 to 5 placements. Some of them will fall through, but it should net you between 3 and 10k. Yeah, that should pay for the rest of you. That should pay for 2 years expenses in your business. Yeah, 3 to 6 should pay for a dividend. So the third and the 6th month should be the point where you can take out some money out of the business if that's what you choose to do. You might want to buy a new car. You might want to take dividends, and at that stage you want to get an accountant and sort it all out, or QuickBooks or something. And after the 6 to 12 months, you might want to start to look at, hey, I'm bringing in this amount of revenue, it looks consistent, and I've got a nice cash flow coming in, and there's some reserves in the business account. Yeah, so estimating, a part-time agency will make between 10 and 30k, and that is 15 hours a week. Yeah, part-time, no experience. You can blow this figure out of the water as well, by all means. 30,000. I wouldn't have quit my job if I was making 30,000. Put it that way. And you'll be surprised. And at that stage, the decision is yours, your financial situation to obviously retire, quit your job, whatever you want to do, be financially free, be an entrepreneur, and move to that. And so I hope it's been, somewhat of a helpful video. I do offer coaching calls, not too often. I try and do a few a week because I know a lot of people are interested. So you can go to cadsmoney.com. I'll leave all the links in the description below. By all means, thank you for watching. And if you've got any video requests, anything you want me to cover, I'll be more than happy to do so. Take care.